There are little things that we don't know that are mentally bringing us down, that are mentally bringing us down. And as communities, I think that we need to work on that.
Our systems have oppressed us so much and trained us so much to not even trust each other with intention, because we can't even come together in groups without police coming by. When you don't feel safe as a whole people, how can you thrive?
A lot of children are dealing with depression, very high anxiety. A lot of cyberbullying is also going on, and just challenges with their self-esteem and self-worth connected to social media. If you already have challenges with your mental health, being on those things can cause you to, compare yourself, or to lower your self-esteem, or to give unrealistic views and perceptions of life and how people are living.
But kids know what it means to be free. Kids know what it means to be racist. They know all those things. They just might not know what to call it, but they can feel it.
Living in a world with people who want you to believe a false reality when you know it's not true, but you have to operate in it. And then you have to go home and be in your real reality. And that can do damage to anyone.
It's hard in America, okay? There's a whole timeline where we were inventing things and people were taking them from us. If somebody tells you every day you ain't crap, it doesn't really matter how much you try and keep yourself up. If everybody around you is telling you that you are not, you have to find out for yourself that yes, I am. Now, how can you stand up for yourself if you don't know your worth?
With all of this trauma comes all these learned traits. You have to dress a certain way, you have to speak a certain way, and if you don't, you won't be accepted by the white people. We need to understand if these are healthy ways for us to be in the world. If there's one trait that I felt Black people need to get rid of the most, is living in scarcity mode.
Most of the things that are happening are trauma responses, but we don't do anything about that. Everyone just gets punished. And now that we're in a society where they can't technically put their hands on us, but they do, we're stuck with what do we do, fight or flight? What is our reaction to it? We just push through, because if we don't, we're gonna be seen as less than, and if we're not doing 150%, you're beneath everyone.
One of the women that I know that's like, she's like my best friend, she actually has a master's degree in ABA. And what I ended up learning with her is how to deal with racial and prejudice issues that I would come across. At one point, I was letting people run over me because I would get so angry and I would just want to automatically go directly to violence that I didn't really know what to say or how to articulate myself and what I was feeling.
One of the ways that we can move forward in education is providing safe spaces for Black people in educational settings to actually express their interest in their history and have spaces to talk about it without somebody challenging how they feel about it. If we say that we as a Black people were harmed by slavery, let us say that and don't counter it, because we learn from our history. The naming ceremony was the very first thing we did on day one when we got to Ghana. Every child born, at least in that tribe, they have this naming ceremony, and you go without a name until you have it. If Black Americans don't have their own naming ceremonies, and that's our culture, are we running around nameless without identity? To know your name is to know yourself, and to know your identity is to have confidence and self-esteem.
I used to really take a victim mentality. I got to a place where that wasn't going to be the most productive solution. I've come to realize that when you do the things that they stereotypically expect you to do, you fall right into their trap. But when you learn how to take hold of those things and own those things, then you become more empowered, and then you can take control. You can actually control the outcome.
You have to first accept that the trauma has happened, but then you also have to be willing to let it go. You have to choose yourself. You have to choose your healing. You have to choose your self-care.
That's the work of the Black community, to find our identity and feel safe enough with each other to connect to each other.
Bell Hooks says healing is never an individual act, it's always an act of community.